Hey guys, so before the video even starts, I just want you to know that the before and the after are not very different, but this is still an honest review of a product that I had high hopes for because I used it in high school and I remember it working out so well for me. For whatever reason, giving it a try this time didn't go as well as it has in the past. Obviously, I still had a different method for going blonde that I used after this that will be shown in videos to come. In the near future, I've already recorded them, so I just have to edit and post. Keep watching if you want to make that decision for yourself on whether or not you think this is a good product. Hi guys! If you are following my going blonde journey this time around, you would know that this is the end result of the video that I just did using Color Fix by One and Only, which is actually the brand of dye that I'm going to be using today to go blonde. Looks like this. That's the brand, One and Only. I'm not a professional. So normally I actually use Prism Light's blue bleach, but today I think my hair is light enough to where I can get away with using a highlighting blonde dye. Oh Jen, you were so hopeful. It's adorable. That will tone and lighten at the same time. Like I said, I've used it in high school. I just honestly can't remember what my starting situation was when I used it in high school, so I'm crossing my fingers that this is the ideal situation to start from with it. Who's gonna break the news to this girl that it ain't gonna work? Let's get into it. This is what the box looks like. I have two of them, as you can see. One and Only Argan Oil Hair Color, Permanent Color Cream, High Lift Cool Blonde 11 HLA. So this is two applications in one bottle. I might not even need both of these, but to be on the safe side, I'm going to use both because it is much better to have more than you need and not run out of product than it is to not have enough and run out. That's usually where hair disasters begin, and that's how blotchiness happens too, so I'm just going to try to avoid that completely. Most things are the same when it comes to how much developer you're supposed to use and whatnot. On the back it says standard mix ratio, 1 part color to 2 parts developer. Inside the box it says depending on how light you want it, so whether you want to lighten it 2, 3, 4 levels, 20, 30, or 40 volume developer is what you'll have to consider. The struggle I'm having right now is, do I use 30 or 40 volume with dye? So before I get into that, usually for toning or just putting color in, you'd want to use 10 or 20 volume. The higher you go in the volume, the more it lightens your hair, from my understanding. Please, professionals, if you have some advice for me, you know where to go because I want to help everyone and I want to document my process of doing it, but I don't want to sound like I'm a know-it-all when I'm not qualified. 30 and 40 is where you're going to be really lightening your hair and depositing whatever color you have, but the lighter volume you go, apparently the less color gets put into your hair, even though it ends up lighter. So the reason I'm even considering 40 when I'm this light is because I'm using a dye that has argan oil in it. Not that the argan oil is going to completely save my hair, but I do think that it will be less damaging than using a bleach powder. If you use a bleach powder, oftentimes on the top of the bag it'll say that it lightens up to 6 levels, which is a lot. Whereas with this, it doesn't have that extra boost of lightening that bleach does, and that depends on which bleach you get. Apparently with 30, 40, basically that means you're lifting 3 levels or 4 levels, but the bleach powder kind of boosts that and is able to go up to 6. So I didn't want to do that much to my hair right now because I don't know if it can handle it, but I think if I use 40 with this, it'll just do the 4 levels and it won't be as harsh as if I were to use bleach. However, it's still damaging, for sure. You guys can be the judge on if you think it's too damaging to attempt on yourself. So maybe this video can be a what to do or what not to do, depending on if your situation is close to mine or not. So now that I've gotten all of that painful stuff, boring stuff out of the way, I will say before I get started that my hair has previously been bleached from like where my fingers are to the ends, but up here is relatively fresh regrowth, and my roots, that dark brown that you see there, it's barely there. That's my natural color, dark brown, which I'll insert here. As you can see, my hair has been lightened. The only part that I've used bleach on is down here. This just lightened with a developer that I used in a highlighting red dye previous to what I have right now. I honestly don't know what's gonna happen because I haven't used this dye in like a lot of years. Since it's 1 part color to 2 parts developer, I'm gonna read this here. This here says this here says that it's 3 fluid ounces, which means I'm gonna do 6 fluid ounces of developer. I like to have a glass bowl on hand because then I could just dump everything into here, because half the time not everything fits in my little measuring bowl. The measuring bowl has fluid ounces listed right here, and it'll be really easy for me to see because the 6 is the top one, so that's where I'm going to pour all of the developer to, and I'm just gonna dump it in my bowl, and then I will squeeze the tube of dye right in there with it. This is not the one and only brand developer, this is just what I have here, so I'm being a little ambitious today. This is the Sensitive Scalp Developer. I would suggest using the developer that would go with this, which is the one and only developer. That one probably also is a little more healthy on the hair, but I'm using what I have. I mean, it says it has conditioning wheat protein in it. I've had experiences in the past where I've used 30 volume and it didn't get light enough, and I was just very unhappy with it and dyed it black. I'm trying to avoid that. So I've got my developer here. I'm gonna put it in my bowl. I'm gonna use my coloring brush. This is a Colortrak brush. This is from Sally's as well. I'm just gonna scoop out all of the developer that was clinging to the edge of the bowl. So now I'm gonna take my color, twist the cap off, and use the cap to hole punch. I'm gonna add this whole tube, so excuse me while I do that because this is gonna take some effort. Roll and squeeze method here. Alright, we've got a completely empty tube of hair dye. Ooh, this smells good. Please take this sulfur smell off of my hair from the color strip. That'd be great. I honestly think I'm gonna need the second tube. I've got it all mixed up. I need to add more. Okay. I just don't think that's enough, and I don't want it to be splotchy, so we're gonna do things the safe way. Plus, I need to use all of my developer before it goes bad. I'm gonna add the second tube. Now I know I'm gonna have way too much. Why does this look brown? Okay, it's the same thing, but it looks different in color. 11 HLA. It just looks like a different color, which I don't know if that means it doesn't work anymore, but this tube of dye is not old. But why is it brown? Did the other one look brown? Let's just keep on keeping on. Can you see why I'm concerned? That didn't happen the first time. But I mean, that has happened to me though before, where I've gotten a tube of dye and like part of it is like just white and then the end of it is like colored for some reason. Can anyone explain why that happens? Because I don't get it. So now that I have way too much dye, we can get started, which means these need to come out. It's been nice having you around. Some of you might already know this, but I'm not a finicky sectioner when it comes to hair. I should be, but I'm not. What I like to do is kind of just douse it all on and then flop it over the side and then do sections when it's already saturating in dye. But I'll show you how I do that. It's just easier for me when I'm doing it by myself. My sectioning method is different than most, but it works. So the part I'm gonna start with is in here. Right here is usually the part right after the roots is where I have the most dye because the ends have previously been lightened. They're not going to be an issue for me. I'm going to do those last because I don't want to damage them more than they already are. They're so damaged already. Try not to cringe at my methods, guys. I usually don't even show this part because I'm ashamed of it. My side cut is pretty stubborn, and I've said that in past videos because it doesn't have the longer hair to lock in the heat. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply it to there.
What do you want to open?
No, nothing. Keep doing what you were doing.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Yay! Alright, so it is now 11:47 in the morning, noon-ish, whatever. So I'm gonna wait probably 15 minutes and just check on it because it is 40 volume and I don't want to overprocess my hair. Of course, 30 volume would take a little bit longer, so just keep that in mind. I just want the last parts that I applied to really get saturated. Even though this is sensitive scalp, it does still burn because of the amount that you're applying. So I wanted to make sure that there was going to be no splotchiness whatsoever, and using a crazy amount of dye is going to help you to make sure that everything got covered. I'm gonna let this process really quick. I just want to tell you guys to try not to pile it onto your scalp like I did because it burns really bad, and I think it's because I'm like locking in the heat, because when I lift this up it feels better. It's definitely turning. Yeah, I think I just put too much on my scalp. You can also buy these little tubes by Ion that protect your scalp from burning, so I would also suggest that. So it's definitely toned. Not perfectly, it's not like a perfect cool tone. There are dark, deep yellow undertones in there, so simply put, it's not what I want. I do wish it was a little lighter, so the argan oil definitely helps, but I don't stop if I'm not happy. So that means I need to figure out the next step of this lightening process. So I'm gonna consider my options. Without further ado, I think we'll just end this video here. We'll just have this as a review of the one and only High Cool Lift Blonde. We will figure out where to go for the next chapter of this journey, and that will be my next video. Thank you guys for watching, and please stay tuned if you're interested to see what else happens to my hair.